Tell me how you ended up launching Learn PDR Online.
I've been in the motor trade probably for 22 years now. So I'll start at the beginning, just going through. I used to work in a body shop, did my apprenticeship, kind of fitting, panel beating, that side of things. And we used to get a dent guy come in, and that intrigued me straight away. That just the idea that you could fix a dent without filling and painting. But also the business model appealed to me massively. I was in a workshop stuck in every day, and this guy turned up in a van, had all his tools, came in for an hour or so, half an hour, and off he went again to his next job.
Do you still know that guy?
No. This was many years ago. But it was the first time I'd ever seen PDR and even heard of it. And the business model I thought was interesting, just being that freedom of being around in the van appealed to me before knowing anything about PDR at all. Then I spoke to him about how to get started, and he said, get yourself some tools and practice, which I did. And then you realise you need a bit more than that. You need some actual training or someone to give you a bit of a guided hand in it. But I progressed through. I did do some training, got into PDR, and also into smart repairs, so doing kind of bumper scuffs and paint. I started doing my dent repair business, and at the time people hadn't ever heard of PDR, and a lot of people didn't know the process. It was completely foreign. So my logic was, if I do a simple 3-4 minute video of me fixing a dent on a car, then I can just send people the link to the video, and it will give them a visual aid as to what PDR is. So that was the logic behind my first ever video. For reasons unknown to me still to this day, that video did really well. Ended up kind of going viral before I knew that was a thing. But off the back of that video, I think it might have over 2 million views or so. But then I started having comments from people all over the world, and then people that, and I didn't do it with that intention, but people would then ask how to get into it and how to get started with it. And I ignored it, well, not ignored it, but I didn't think much of it for years, because I'm running a dent business, I'm doing my own thing.
What did you call your dent business?
It's TDR Repair was my dent business, which is just my initials and repair, because I didn't want the dents in it. And I think as a kid I always wanted my name on the side of a van or something personal. Yeah. Shortly into business I regretted that massively, because one, it means nothing to anybody other than me, but two, no one can pronounce it over the phone. They're like, is that DDL? And I'm like, no, TDL. Is that PPL? I'm like, no, TDL. And then when people ask what it stands for, I'm like, well, it's just my name. It doesn't, it's not, so it's a bit odd. So I progressed or learned with my next business. Like now I've moved down to Devon. The company there is Devon Dent Repair. It's very simple, and it's not personal to me. It's something that I can build up and sell if I want to. Same with Learn PDR Online. It says what it is. It's not specific to me, albeit it's my face and me doing videos. The concept is that you are going to learn PDR, and you can do it, start off online.
And at some point it could be somebody else.
Yes, yeah. That was my initial idea, to be honest. I have a lot of different tutors, a lot of different trainers and things like that. And then, you just sort of start with one idea and it evolves into something else. But I think that initial video I did for my dent company in Reading in the UK was for TDR Repair. That one I had a lot of questions, a lot of comments, particularly in America, because it's such a bigger industry here than in the UK.
This is the monster of
I wasn't aware of either. But it started getting me thinking. I think I probably mulled it over for a few years after that, in the back of my mind somewhere. And I thought, I wonder if I can do a video teaching someone to do a dent. And I did. That was my first kind of concept with the online training. Did a basic tutorial, kind of the gist of what I did in my own 5-day course that I went on. Put it into video format and started to sell that. And I sold a few. It was never huge, but I sold a few courses. And then this is where the evolution comes in, because the people that did well with it, I've got a guy in Malta, and there aren't any dent schools in Malta. It's a small island. For him to get training.
Off of Greece?
Yeah, somewhere just I think south of Italy, somewhere. Yeah, there's not a dent school in there. It's quite a small island really. So somebody like that, for them to learn PDR in a traditional sense, they need to go to a different country, enroll in a school, and the cost and to go away, the travel side of it. It just kind of started getting me thinking more about it. But with the people that did my initial training, so a guy called Raymond in Malta, once he finished my basic course, he had a bug for it. And he was like, okay, then what? What's the next bit to do? So then, of course, after a little while, I'm like, oh, I need to do a part 2 or a part 3.
Yeah.
And then over the years, it's now turned into a part, I think it's 170 videos now.
Okay.
Within the training side of things. But that's kind of why I got started, and it was a promotional video for my own dent business.
Interesting.
That did well. And then after a few years of having comments and conversations with different people, the idea kind of evolved of doing my business, the Learn PDR Online. But interestingly, another part of the inspiration, I was listening to PDR College before doing that, and at the time the only thing I could find remotely similar was Dent Trainer, so Mike Toledo's video courses.
Yeah.
But I was listening to PDR College and signed up to you at the forum as well, with all the information and things in there.
Yeah, for people that don't know what that is, for a while we had a membership, online membership that you could join and be part of the PDR College online community, really before Facebook groups took off.
Yes, and
Facebook groups kind
huge.
of killed our business.
Yeah. But the information in that, again, I learned so much from reading different people's responses to the different questions. So I guess my invention, if you like, or my thought process, obviously is, I didn't invent it, but was if there was something a merge between the two, because I liked the visual side of things, or the concept of Dent Trainer. I never signed up to it to see it myself, but I understood it was a library of videos showing dent repair, but I didn't feel it had any structure to it to kind of follow along from a beginner point of view.
Yeah.
If you already know what you're doing, it was good to kind of touch base with it. But then what I learned through the forum and things at PDR College, it kind of, Dent Trainer across PDR College was the inspiration, I think, for Learn PDR Online, because we have all the videos, the tuition, the training, but it's with the structure and guidance, and there's a forum, so if students ask questions, I'm in there, and it just kind of creates a nice community as well. So for me, it was a kind of mashup of both those things together, putting it into what I believed would be a better way or another way of doing it to kind of learn. So that's kind of why I started it, or what led me to it, and I've been doing that for the last 7 years now.
Okay, and I think you mentioned it used to be a membership.
That's right. Well, first thing was my video course, and it was just a video, effectively a few-part series that was just sold as a one-off. And then when people asked for the next instalment, what's next, then it became a whole library of videos, which I did a monthly subscription for. So people would join for 1 month or 6 months or a year or two. And I had that running probably for about 4 years, the membership side of things. And then, so now instead of doing the monthly subscription, we now have it as a kind of going back to the original version of a course, but it's a one-time purchase, lifetime access, because there's no time limit to it. Whilst I've learned, as we keep saying throughout this, that you're always learning.
Yeah.
If you've got a 5-day course or you've got a 4-week course or something, as good as they are and they serve a purpose, what happens on day 6? Or what happens at the next month?
Yeah.
You come across a dent you haven't seen before, or a tool or a technique or a problem or a situation, you've got no one to ask. So by offering the training with lifetime access, it's literally there anytime. It's kind of like your Bible, anytime you need it, or handbook. You can just refer to it, check for stuff. So I built it with the idea of helping someone who's never touched a car before or picked up any tools have an understanding as to how to get into it and how to practice and get better, but then also take it all the way through to not just a variety of dents, techniques and tools, but how to actually start a business, grow the business and then sort of scale it, but also make it successful. And for me, it's about the lifestyle the business gives me rather than the financials. So I certainly don't earn a great deal of money with PDR, like some of the figures, some of the numbers, it's just me doing what I do. But what it does do is it gives me the lifestyle that I want and the freedom that I want.
Yeah.
Just to be able to, literally have that freedom to move around and
to come to California and hang out in a dent shop for a couple of hours.
Yeah, if I was stuck at my desk or had to, or couldn't afford to, I had to be under a work condition, I couldn't do it.
Yeah.
Being able to just pick up and say, actually, next month we're going to do this, or let's go a different direction, different place. It's what I wanted.
Do you have a big success story from your Learn PDR Online? One of your clients who are, or students, I guess, who's built a business?
I have a few. I'm not sure in terms of big. Like the guy Raymond I mentioned in Malta.
Yeah.
He went off just in that initial side of things, and then I won't take credit for how well he's done now. I gave him enough confidence to start doing what he did. But he now has a successful dent shop in Malta, and I see him on Facebook a lot, and he's posting his before and afters.
Great.
But I know that massively helped him in his lifestyle, and it gave him the freedom that he wanted. And this was probably 7 years ago. So I had another student that did want to get out. He was doing smart repairs and paint repairs, a guy called Tom, and he had heard about PDR, and again, probably a bit so the money side of it, but he was very passionate about the skill side of learning it. And he's a great student of PDR. So whilst he did go on a 5-day in-person course, and he said that was okay, but it left him with a lot of questions.
Yeah.
So he did that first, then he joined up with myself, and he's still a member now with the monthly payment we had, one of my first people. But since then, because he's interested, he's also done the Kiko 4-week course, and he's also shadowed a tech for a year after that. So he's kind of covered all 4 different bases.
A whole year?
Of, I think so. I mean, I'm not sure. I think there was probably getting paid some form of commission in that side of things. But yeah, he certainly shadowed him for a year or 2. And now he's, because he wanted to get out of painting cars and that dusty paint side.
Very toxic.
Yeah, it is. It's horrible stuff, really. But he's now doing really well. And again, I'm not taking credit for him. He's done lots of different training, lots of different things, but it was his own mindset that he wanted to learn, and that passion again. He's just always been intrigued by, can I get it that bit better, and is there something out there that I don't know that can make this 100% rather than 90%?
There almost always is.
That drive.
I remember, we just heard that Kazimieras passed away.
Yeah, sure.
From Stanliner Tools, and we were talking about when he first came online and was showing all of his crazy techniques. Well, he didn't show the techniques, he showed the repairs, so everyone thought they were fake because they were on another level from what we were seeing and doing. And then once we saw that it was real, just like again opened up most of our minds, opened mine up to like, yes, there is another technique and there is another tool that will do that. Like, oh gosh, how many more are there? How many more that I don't know about?
It's a completely different technique, isn't it? I haven't played around much with the Stanliner side of things, other than seeing it at MTE and stuff, like the rolling techniques and dragging and things like that. But yeah, different techniques at all. That, as you said, that's not possible. That can't do that.
Yeah.
Because I think you mentioned it with the dragging side of things. Initially, that's the worst thing you can do is drag your tool across a repair.
Right.
It's going to chew it up. And then suddenly seeing people doing it, coming out with nice, clean results, it's a different thing to learn, a different tool, a different technique.
Yeah, high, low, or flat, that's it.
Yeah, but yeah, see,
So now what's the future for Learn PDR Online?
Oh, that's a good question. I feel I need to be prepped for that one.